Hoka Hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of October the 21st, 2022. Which of Alita's bodies is best? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek from Denver, Colorado. And with us, we have Do Not Stand By, also from near Denver, Colorado.
Hey, Creek. Great
How are you doing?
Great to be here. How about you?
Cool. Real good, real good. Did you ever decide when we were going to have the outdoor showing again?
Yeah, we might hold off until next week, the eve of Halloween, which will be Sunday, October 30th.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. I always like watching that in 3D. I can keep my mouth shut long enough. It'll be fun. So.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we'll have some people walk by and be curious. And given that it's Halloween as well, people might want to learn more about the movie if they haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Is Alita Rave going to join us, you think?
I don't know. I got to reach out to him, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'll ask Lee. Now, Lee lives pretty far down south of us. You know, he lives down in Fountain, so he's going to be, gosh, he's probably 100 miles from your house, I would say. But hey, you can make that drive for Alita, I guess. You know. So anyway, yeah, for sure. So yeah, we're and I see Finestro's out there, and David Alexandra's out there, so that's pretty cool. You know, we got a small audience right now, but it'll probably pick up, I guess. So, yeah, we're having some pretty good weather here in Colorado. Today was great. So, you know, real nice. I like fall time here. It's pretty cool. So,
yeah, same here. I'm hoping that the weather holds out for at least another week, at least until Halloween.
Yeah. Well, it usually does, I think. Although we can get snow in October for sure, but you know, there it is. So yeah, hello to you too, Finestro. And he says hi to you too. Do not stand by.
Thanks, Finestro.
Yeah, or I would say yeah, that's right, Angelus. I guess Angelus must be at work, and I guess Finestro will say, I guess we'll say Bitazea, you know. So maybe we'll get a few chuckles out of him on that one. Okay, so before we get into the topic, I guess right now there's only two of us in here, but I just put the link in the chat if you want to jump on here and you know and join us for the discussion. You know, I guess you can click on that link and come into the stream, and then we'll then you can join us in chatting about Alita, which body is best. But before we do that, I want to just remind everybody, and of course we don't have that many people on the. Yeah, Feelin' Dunk would be also a good one there, Finestro, for sure. Yep. That means thanks a lot. So anyway, this is where we stood about, probably around noontime here, or say around 4 hours ago. This is how many signatures we had on the petition for a sequel. And you know, I think we've added like 22 since last week, so we're averaging about 3 a day. So I guess what we need to do is another mass tweet to get this thing going and get some more signatures on there. But nearly 177,000. That's pretty good. You know, that's a lot more than that is more than the Snyder Cut folks got to get their you know, get the Snyder Cut version of Justice League out. So Angelus, yeah. Yeah, ich liebe Imaginos. Yeah, well, there's 3 Imaginos bodies there, Angelus. So anyway, we want to make sure that, you know, we want to try to get this thing to 200,000 signatures. So, and I'm pretty sure everybody on the stream here has probably already signed it. But if you have not, just get on there. And I guess I'll have to put the website link in there in the chat. I should be putting it on the slide itself, I guess. So, but anyway, get on there and sign it, and let's see if we can you know, convince Disney, you know, to give us that sequel and let them And if they will, they could let 20th Century do it, you know. So that'll be that would be that'd be great for all of us, I guess. Okay, on to the main topic, I guess. This is going to be a topic similar to what we did back in April, in that, except that the biggest difference is going to be in April. We were asking which version of Alita would have been the greatest or the best waifu, you know. Well, we're not doing that here. Although, yes, Angelus, we'll probably do some woo on here just since you're in the chat. So anyway, but you know, her body, which we had a discussion at one point, I think, whether or not that was a berserker body or not. And it could have been, you know, but we separated it out here. And of course, the doll body we saw in the movie, the berserker body certainly we saw in the movie, and the motorball body. In the manga, we had the civilian body, the tuned body, 3 Imaginos bodies, and her human body, which was actually in one of those, one of those alternate ending or side stories in the original manga, and also at the end of the Last Order, she had a human body in both of those tales there. So, and that's not a cyborg body, obviously, but still one of her bodies. So. So here's the way it's going to work, though. Yeah, Angelus. Yeah, the uwu body. Yeah, that's right. Well, Angelus, that's all 10 of them, so I'm not sure what that means. So, but anyway, what we're going to do is that as we go through this, you can cast your vote by just in the chat, just saying which body you like the best, and we'll put the results up at the end, so you can see which body it actually won. So by all means, at any time in the chat you can put which body you like, or you can wait till the end if you want to, and after you've seen all 10 bodies, which body you would prefer, or which one you want to vote for. So yeah, that's right, Finestro. So many bodies in so little time. That's right. So anyway, any thoughts there? Do not stand by before we go on with showing each individual body that Alita has.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing your take on them. So why don't we begin?
All right, sounds good. So anyway, here's the first body, and that's the body. Now this is the body she had when she was fighting for the United Republics of Mars military, and of course, she was a soldier in the military, and quite a good one too. And in the movie, we got the impression, of course, that she was second in command of that squad, behind Gelda. So, that's a pretty good body right there in terms of capability. And you can see she has, now I think the body on the left may not be the body. That's just, I guess, a representation I got, because it's got that Zex, chibi, on her shoulder there. But the one on the right definitely is the body, because it's got Danko, the sentient gun, and all that. So that was her body. Now, and the reason why there was some confusion whether or not that body was a berserker body or not is it looks different, so, and that could be just the difference between the manga and the movie. So, but we went ahead and made it kind of a separate body itself. So any thoughts on this one? Do not stand by.
Yeah, my impression was that this was way after the events of her trying to get up to Zalem, and in the Last Order, where she was trying to search for clues to her past and reconcile some of the loose ends that didn't get resolved in her first life before she got found by Doc Ito. Is that right?
Yeah, not exactly. This is the body she had. It would be the same body, I guess, or at least the analog of it from the movie that she had when she was going up the supply tube with the squad, because that was like 300 years before that time with Ito and all that kind of good stuff. So, here's Lee. So this body, is a little bit, I think a little bit before that, but anyway, welcome, Lee. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. How about you guys?
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
Hey Lee, we were just talking, Creek and I, about having a 3D movie watch party at my house. I'm in Arvada, the northwest suburb of Denver. Um, so we were thinking maybe the eve before Halloween, and trying to get the folks in the Denver area here.
Well, I certainly wouldn't mind showing up. Problem is, I'm the only ride my girlfriend's got to and from her work, and I'm not sure if that might interfere with it.
Ah, well, you're certainly welcome. That's for sure.
Well, I heard it being in 3D, so like I said, I certainly wouldn't mind showing up for that.
Oh,
I haven't seen it in 3D yet.
Yeah. Oh man, you'd be in for a treat on that one. You know, I think Do Not Stand By laughs at me every time I come see it. I've only seen it twice at his house, but I keep running my mouth every time I see it. You know, like, oh my God, look at that. You know, stuff like that. You know, it's really cool. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sunday, October 30th, from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So if that time works for you, if it doesn't, just let us know. We can be flexible about it.
Okay. What time? Well, you said October 30th. What time though?
6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. So that'd be around sunset.
Unfortunately, I'll be on the road then.
Okay. All right. Well, the alternative that we thought was maybe this coming Sunday, October 23rd, or the Sunday after, which would be November 6th.
November 6th. See, 23rd. Well, I do have a copy of her schedule. The problem is they've been shifting it on her, so I'm not even sure if I'd actually... Oh, that's the wrong page. 23rd. Well, I think that would be okay.
Oh, the 23rd. That's the day after tomorrow. Cool.
All right. Yeah. If the 23rd would work for you, it would be less risky as well in terms of the weather, because going further out until November 6th, it might get real cold by then. So this coming Sunday is probably the safest in terms of weather.
Yeah, I would have to talk to her about that too, though. The only vehicle we've got is her car, and I'm hesitant to risk it on a long drive like that.
Okay, all right. Well, just let us know, and we'll be flexible about it.
Okay. How would I let you guys know, though? I've tried to contact Creek on Discord, but he never shows up.
Oh gosh, I keep saying I'm gonna get on Discord, and I don't do it. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to get on. Let me check something here on my. I got a little. I got Discord on here. Yeah, so yeah, I'll have to get on there. I'll get on there for sure. So this time I promise, like I always promise and never do it, but this time I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and as a backup, you can always find me on Twitter. I'm at TakeOnAny. Do not stand by at TakeOnAny.
Unfortunately, I have tried about a dozen different times to actually get an account going on Twitter, and it refuses to accept my information for some reason. I don't know what the deal could be, but it's like bound and determined not to let me on for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never had that happen to anything else.
Jeez.
All right. Well, then I guess the clearest way to reach me then is you can text me at my phone number. You got a pen handy?
Yeah, let me get that real quick.
Or you can put it in the private chat too if you want to.
I'll put that in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
And I promise I'll get on Discord too, probably tomorrow sometime or even Sunday to get a message from you. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you should have a message sitting in your inbox when you get on. So.
It's probably about 4 months old, right?
I think August 9th was when I sent it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's not. I didn't miss it by
August
much.
29th. Okay.
Oh, okay. So. Oh, I only missed it by 2 months. So, you know, yeah, so that you know how often I get on Discord. So, yeah. So anyway, Yeah, you'll get to possibly meet Alita Rave too. He was at the last one that I was. That Do Not Stand By had. And he brought a friend with him, and we had a lot of fun on that thing. His friend was not an Alita Army type, but he wanted to see the movie too, I guess. So,
Okay.
that's the way it worked, I guess. And one of these days, we're going to do a thing here at the Kansas Bar. I've been kind of under the gun here, but not just with work, but with my dog. He requires a lot of attention. So
I can imagine. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, he's still hanging in there, though. He's not. He hadn't given up the ship or anything. And sometimes you can't even tell anything's wrong with him, or actually most of the time you can't tell anything's wrong with him. So. Okay, but anyway, getting back to the topic here, we'll get all this thing going. I guess Finn asked a question, does she have a shoulder cannon? Well, actually, Finn, what that is, it's a self-aware or sentient gun, and it can shoot all kinds of rounds. The gun, you see the little head that's coming out of the gun there on the right, that gun is named Danko. And it's really funny in the manga, you read that, and he and Danko and Alita get in arguments a lot and stuff like that, and he's got a mind of his own, Now, of course, Alita can direct him also, because they're like a team, So, and it is very much like that shoulder cannon that the Predator has, except it does shoot all kinds of rounds out. He can shoot collapsor rounds. I believe he can even shoot plasma bolts out of that thing and shoot other kind of projectiles. So he's, he can adapt that. And her being her Imaginos body, of course, she can change some of the characteristics of the gun too. So, but like I say, he is a sentient gun, and a gun that has a name. That's exactly right. Yeah, his name is Danko, and that's Danko. And he's a trip. At one point, I think Alita and Erica had met up, and Erica said, "Is that your pet on your shoulder?" And Danko says, "Pet? How'd you like to eat some of my bullets?" Something like that, So it's kind of funny because he kind of got insulted by that, I guess, being called Alita's pet, So, but anyway, this body is maybe and possibly is a berserker body. I don't know for sure. I think it is. I know it's got nanotech on it and stuff like that. It does look somewhat different from the movie, but of course you would expect that, it being being a manga representation versus the movie, being the berserker body that we all know, So anyway, what do you guys think? Do Not Stand By. What's your opinion of this body right here?
Yeah, well, I think that body's it's great for Alita to find out about her past, and also to reconnect with what she was before. But it's not my favorite, obviously, because I'm a bigger fan of the movie than I am of the manga.
Okay. Yeah, this thing about her body here, and the reason why there was confusion about whether or not it's at least it's probably, if it is a berserker body, it's a different version of it, because if you remember, even in the movie, when they were going up the supply tube and you saw that body she was in, to me, it looked like almost a cross between the motorball body and the berserker body, because she had 99 on her shoulder. The colors were slightly different, and looked
that
like
was the same look she had on the moon battle too. So I think that basically what that was a protective environment suit of some sort.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it may be a berserker body, but if it is, it's a different version of it. Kind of like Lee was saying there. So.
Well, I imagine the berserker body underneath probably looks identical to the one she wears in the movie.
Could be.
I have a feeling that what she was wearing was a cross between an environmental protection suit and a uniform.
Could be, and that could have been armor that she was wearing too, when they were going up the supply tube, but it was hard to tell, so.
Well, being a military unit, a uniform seems pretty logical to me.
Yeah, I think so, and of course and since she discovered that berserker body on the ship, that crashed ship, then yeah, you would probably think, yeah, it probably is a berserker body, if not the berserker body that she discovered, at least a version of it, maybe a version 1.0 or something like that. She did have a different body too in the and that was when she first got in the she was given a kind of a titanium body, which wasn't a berserker body, so, and in this case, this body might be that too. So we weren't real sure, and that's why we just called it the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how about the body that she was fighting Gelda with in the flashback, where she learned that about Nova?
Yeah, I think she looked younger in that scene to me than she did, even in the movie or even in the when she was going up the supply tuber on the moon. She just looked younger to me, like maybe she was like 12 years old.
Considering
or 10
the
years
adaptive technology that they had for the nanotech in the berserker body in the movie, I don't doubt it was probably a berserker of some sort and just using the adaptive technology to size it down for her age.
Yeah, that's right. So
I mean, it's highly adaptive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it certainly is, because it's got nanotech, just like it had when Gruishka punctured her with a grind cutter, on the side. You saw some of that adaptive ability, or capability in it by just self-repair,
Well, two examples of that was the incident you're talking about, as well as when she was embodied in it in the clinic, because it completely altered just about every inch of it to form fit to what she thought of her own self-image.
Yeah, that's right. And that's right, because Gerhard said, it looks like she's a little older than you thought, so, probably not 14 or 15, but 18 or 19,
yeah,
something like that.
Was in, that one guy who had a copy of James Cameron's notes for the movie verse. The age that Ito ends up going on is 14, because that was closer to his daughter's age.
Yeah.
When in actuality, she's around 19, closer to 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Maxie says she's like 17. I could believe that when she was on Mars, because it takes a while to get from Mars to Earth, if you're using a conventional spacecraft, I guess, because it takes, depending on where the
well, they didn't seem to have a conventional spacecraft in that universe. I mean, the ships they were using, they were like in what was it? The Nerva rocket. Back in I think the 50s and 60s, NASA came up. I think it was NASA came up with the Nerva nuclear rocket engine, and they. Were thinking that using that rocket engine, they could get to Mars in, I think, under 6 months.
Yeah.
A much faster time than it would take a chemical rocket to get there.
Yeah. Well, it would depend on, would depend on the where the location of the planets are too. If they're not, if both planets aren't if they're at opposition, I guess, where they're on opposite sides of the sun, it would take a lot longer to get there. And if they were close, like you say, then it could be 6 months they could fly it. But I do remember that rocket because it was extremely fast, and I think NASA run into some trouble with folks not wanting to put nuclear material in space or something.
Yeah, there was some kind of treaty with the Soviet Union where we agreed not to put any kind of nuclear material into orbit, so they couldn't actually send it up.
Yeah,
but I have a feeling the engines that they use on those ships were magnitudes more powerful, because you've got stasis fields, energy weapons, energy shielding, nanotech self-repair systems. I mean, stuff that's practically on borders on magic compared to what we have now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I do remember from that one, there's a video about, kind of Alita's backstory that's different than somewhat different than the manga. And I don't know if you remember, it's called The Great War of the Fall or something like that. And it kind of gives you a synopsis of where Alita, what happened. She was born on Mars to two parents, which is different in the manga, of course, which we won't go into what the manga says, because that's
spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler city. Yeah. But anyway, but she was born on Mars and then, became an ERM, got in the ERM military. And I distinctly remember in that video, it said she was 17 years old when she was when she was kind of integrated with an advanced titanium body for training. So the way I see it, and knowing that, I mean, I was never in the military, but I certainly worked a lot with a lot of military guys over my career, when I worked for DOD. But it's not an easy thing, to when you get in the military. It's not like you're in the military and then 2 weeks later you're ready to go on a mission or something like that. The training, depending on which branch you go in, it's at least 6 weeks, I think. I think in the Marines it might be 6 weeks. I'm not sure. How long was yours, Lee?
I think it was about 6 weeks actually for basic.
Yeah, basic training.
But once I got out of basic training, then there was tech school, and that was, I think, another 2 months.
Yeah. So you could see how time could pile up. So she was integrated into, from the titanium body when she was 17 into, say, a berserker body, let's say, and then went through training, and of course, then she went to the Mauser School of Panzerkunst, which who knows how long she was in there. I contend when she left Mars for Earth, when they went to war, she had to be at least 18 years old,
Probably.
And it would take them probably 6 months to almost a year, depending on how the Earth and Mars was aligned, and how powerful their spaceships are. But, I would say when she got here, she was probably near 19 years old when she arrived on Earth,
Actually, I think it may have only taken maybe a couple of months if Earth and the Mars were on opposite sides of the sun, simply because the layout of the ship she was on, the decks were parallel to the ground, which means even if the ship's moving forward relative to its engines, the crew wouldn't be affected by the gravity of that. So it had gravity control systems on it, which means that they could burn at really high Gs and not have to worry about the crew getting splattered by it.
Yeah, that's right. And especially if they oriented the ship too to where they would be standing perpendicular to the force too. They could do that, I guess. And that would make it feel like they were in a gravity, in kind of a gravity
that's the thing
well,
though, is the decks weren't oriented that way, because the decks would have been oriented with the way the ship was lying. The decks would have been oriented like a bulkhead in that position.
Yeah, I wonder if they had some kind of artificial gravity system in there.
Like I was saying, they seem to have some kind of gravity control system that allowed them to generate an artificial gravity field as well as negate high G forces from maybe a high velocity burn from the engines.
Yeah. Well, be that as it may, no matter how long it took her to get here, she had to go through training and all that. My contention is that she would be at the very least 18 years old when she got here, and maybe closer to 19.
I would think probably 19, because once she gets through basic combat training, then she would go into the Panzerkunst training.
Yeah.
And I would think that would take at least a year minimum.
Probably.
Because that's got to be some intensive training.
Yeah, I think so, And no, Angelus, I have not read Chapter 8 yet of the Mars Chronicles. Or Volume 8, rather. He's been after me here for over a month to read that thing, And sorry, Lee, I haven't been able to read Chapter 2 of your fanfic either. So anyway, I got to get to these things, So, but yeah, I agree with you. I think she would have to be at the very, very least, she'd have to be 18 approaching 19. At the very least, and I kind of agree with you, Lee. I think she's got to be 19 years old by the time she gets here. So anyway, that's the ERM body, and you can see, well, she's got uwu in any body. So there she is. She's cute, So you hear that, Angelus? She's cute. So anyway, any other thoughts about the ERM body, you guys?
Yeah, I'm leaning toward Lee's interpretation. I like his interpretation that she did have berserker body. It was just she had a external space armor for the moon battle and for the battle up the tubes.
Yeah, and it was probably, and it could have, it may have been a different like a different version of the Berserker body. I mean, it might look similar, but you know, it would have different capabilities. You would think that a squad leader, you know, like depending on what they're participating in, what type of mission, some bodies would be different. And of course, we know Berserker bodies have their own style. Each Berserker or each Künstler has their own style, you know. So they
well, that was in the manga. In a military force like what they seem to be portraying the as in the movie, they would probably be using a fairly standardized body type, because that increases your ability to speed up repairs and find replacement parts in the middle of a hot fight going on.
Yeah, probably most of them have the same body type. I got the feeling though that maybe Gelda and Alita had slightly different bodies than the rest of their squad. You know, it could be.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. That one type of Berserker body was by itself already a really powerful weapon system.
Oh, heck yeah.
So if you've got specialized combat troops like the Berserkers, which they had going up the tube, from what I understand anyway, you'd want to give all of them the best equipment you've got, especially when it's your final push against the last target that you're trying to destroy.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, there used to be 12 floating cities, and they destroyed 11 of them.
I think it was 13, wasn't it?
Was it 13?
Well, they destroyed all but one anyway, regardless.
Yeah, that's right. So and Zalem was the last one, as Hugo, and that would agree with what's in the manga too. You know, that remember Hugo told Alita that after the battle, Zalem still stood. You know, so probably the rest of them, you know, probably they brought it down and just failed to get Zalem, you know. So, and of course, from my opinion of the war, I mean, granted, this is a fiction story, but you know, I mean, it probably ended up in somewhat of a stalemate, because they both completely annihilated each other pretty closely, you know, and they were unable to fight each other after that.
Yeah, the impression I got was after the devastation on Earth, leaving basically just Iron City and Zalem as the only major population centers. Ooh, excuse me, pardon. They probably had a similar thing happen on Mars, where they had the population pretty much wiped out, because there was no indication of a occupying force of Martians or anything.
Yeah, that's right. So, and you know, well, in that one video, you know, they said that Earth, you know, kind of retaliated with a, you know, with like a nanotech bomb, you know, which took out, you know, all of the cyborgs, I guess, on Mars. You know, and they probably
they gave the
dome.
impression it was some kind of disassembler virus, probably.
Yeah,
there was a science fiction story I remember reading called "Assemblers of Infinity" that dealt with a nanotech plague, and it was they had a part in there where they ended up finding an alien nanovirus, which was basically used for this other purpose that was peaceful, and it had these safeties. Well, these researchers in Antarctica took the safeties off to see what would happen, and it went rampant.
Whoa.
Yeah, it started disassembling the laboratory, all of the researchers, and turning them all into this mush that was just doing all kinds of stuff.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Probably was a similar thing then in the fall. You know, they probably both sides wiped each other out. Yeah. So.
And then Mars did that bioplague against Earth.
Yeah, that's right.
But from the impression I got too was they used more, I wouldn't say conventional, but more familiar explosive type weapons, like maybe some sort of like large fusion bombs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's David Watson has a good observation why he likes the manga, because there's a lot more time devoted to, you know, like training and you know, some more stuff about the mission and stuff and that kind of stuff you don't get in a movie, because movies are short, you know. And it would be really cool when we get that sequel if they go into some of the backstory of Alita's training, you know, or they could do that in a series too, I guess, you know, in a Mars Chronicles series. So that'd be great. You know, but yeah, I kind of agree with you, David. It'd been neat to see what training Alita went through, you know.
Well, that's the thing too. With the kind of technology they've got, they had to have had some sort of neural modification surgery as well. So
Yeah.
there's a possibility they had some kind of training acceleration program that they could put.
Kind of like in the Matrix, right?
Basically,
Remember,
maybe not quite
yeah.
that fast, but something
Yeah.
that would accelerate a soldier's ability to intake information.
Yeah, that's right. Trinity learned how to fly a helicopter in like 3 seconds.
Another thing they could probably do too is if they've got a person's neural pattern mapped out, the nerves in the brain and all that stuff, with the kind of advanced nanotech they've got, they could probably directly input information directly into a person's memories using the some kind of nanotech interface to program the brain.
Whoa.
I mean, they may not be able to give them all of the information that they need, but I would imagine it would give them a massive head start.
It'd be interesting.
I mean, there's been numerous science fiction stories, including hard SF, that I've read that have had similar systems to that.
Okay, so any other thoughts about the body here? We don't really know that, unless you've read the manga. You don't really know that much about the body, and it doesn't go into a lot of detail about it. I mean, you see it in the Mars Chronicles, especially in that chapter, in that volume 2. You see a little bit about it there. So,
wasn't in the manga? Wasn't this the one she got from the Venusians?
Well, that would be. Oh, it could have been. I don't remember. You know, I know she got.
Yeah, because I remember something she spent after she got the Imaginos body. She went to Venus. Something happened on Venus, and then like
she had a different
3
body.
years later, she came back and she has this body with the little gun guy there.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's what I remember as well. I think you're right, Lee.
Yeah, I do. Now that you mention, I think you are right. This is probably more the Venusian body, although she did have a body, a different body with the military. But you know, yeah, you're right. So
yeah, that one actually I think appeared in the flashback when they were attacking the space station, and she went through that corridor and basically blendered all those guys.
Yes. Okay. So moving right along on to the next body would be the doll body. Yeah, this body, of course, is what Ito gave her. And this body really, well, I mean, any cyborg, total replacement cyborg body is going to be amazing, you know, but this one would probably be, you know, among the least capable bodies that she could have. I mean, it would be similar to like the civilian body, you know, I mean, no special abilities about it.
Oh, it was definitely a civilian class body.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, but definitely the body of, as we mentioned a while ago, Ito thought that this body he had built for his daughter, who was 14 years old. And of course, when Alita got put in the body, you know, basically, you know, without a memory, you know, and she's in this body, probably her initial behavior is going to be that of a 14-year-old. We certainly saw that in the movie for sure, you know, but it seemed like during the movie, as she was, you know, kind of progressing through the movie itself and learning stuff, you could see, I guess, her maturity level kind of pretty rapidly accelerated, I think. You know, how many 14-year-olds are going to want to go into into a bar with a bunch of badasses in it?
Well, how many 14-year-olds are trained in Panzerkunst?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So for sure, you know, but this is a cool body, you know, and it is a really nice looking body, you know, but it's you can look at it and say, okay, this is a kid, you know, this is someone who is, you know, maybe just reached puberty or something like this. You know, I mean, as opposed to seeing a body that, you know, on an adult, you know, you say, well, yeah, that's an adult.
Yeah, it's definitely a young style of body. Yeah,
that's exactly right. So now that said, she got every bit out of this body that she could when she was fighting Grishka, that's for sure. And those other two cyborgs. I mean, in this body here, the body of a 14-year-old. Now, a 14-year-old cyborg is going to be different than a 14-year-old human. That's for sure, you know. But man, she literally kicked the crap out of those 3 cyborgs in this body.
Mm-hmm.
And she beat the crap out of Zapan too in this body, you know. So, but this body is really pretty. I mean, it's, you know, if you read or heard or listened to the audio book, the novelization, you know, it kind of has a descriptive type of a narrative in it behind it, you know, about the little flowers and everything that were, you know, put, you know, all over her body.
Yeah, I think one of the
hands.
descriptions from the novel, I didn't get the audiobook, but the regular novelization was it was a work of love on the behalf of Ito to his daughter.
Yeah, and she had like little swirls and flowers and twists and twirls all over her body, you know, on her hands, on her feet, on her legs and stuff like that, you know, like it was like you say, Lee, it was like a work of art, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it wasn't intended for combat, this body, you know.
Yep. And considering the state a lot of other bodies end up being in that he salvages parts for, it's obvious that he put a lot of his own personal work into custom building every inch of it.
Yeah. Well, it's like that body that Hugo had.
Yeah, that was definitely, it wasn't necessarily a low rent body.
Yeah.
But it was not one that he necessarily custom built either.
No, I think he just got the best parts he could, and he, you know, put them together and built a good body, but he didn't he didn't invest the time or the effort in that body than he did this one.
Yep. Oh, I wanted to answer Finestro's question up here.
Oh, what was that?
What was her name when she was born? Well, according to the movie background, I don't know if the manga is the same. It was Yoko.
Yeah, same in the manga. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, her name's Yoko, and that'd be well, I'll put it in the chat just so you can see how it's spelled. So there it is right there, Yoko. So that's, and of course she's in the, I guess in the yeah, she was, that's right, David Watson has a good point. She was Yoko on Mars. And, you know, it wasn't until, I guess, you know, Ito found her that she became Alita, you know, but that was because, I guess in the manga or in the anime, I can't remember which, I think it was the anime, he named her after his cat.
It was the manga too, I believe.
Oh, was it? Yeah, okay. But of course, he named her after his daughter in the movie. So, you know, I guess it'd be a little much. People would, you know, I don't know if I want to be named after a cat or not. So, you know.
Yeah, the Künstlers in the manga were a mercenary force that would get hired for tough jobs.
Yeah, that's
whereas
right.
in the movie, they were a regular military outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, like civilian contractors, sort of. Well, they weren't civilian, were they? They were military, paramilitary, I guess.
Well, civilian contractors aren't civilian either. They just call
them
that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Any thoughts on this one? Do not stand by.
Yeah, well, I loved it when Shirin was explaining he didn't understand how she could do so much damage to Grishka with such a small body after giving Alita the creeps by examining her arm. They did a great job writing the script to really convey that Alita was going way beyond what her body was physically and technically capable of, according to an expert like Shirin.
Yeah. Well, I know in this body, when she fought Gerwishka in the novelization, you know, the battle was a little bit more, how would you say, contentious, I guess, to some point, you know, because in the novelization, Gerwishka actually swats her, you know, and before she hits the wall, she kind of riots her body and hits with her feet, you know, but it cracked like 2 bushings in her body or something like that, if I remember correctly. So,
put some stress on that body, definitely.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, she's pretty badass in this body. I did a couple of videos on this. I did a video on how badass she is in this body, and it's apparent, even though she's looks like a little girl, she's this is not a little girl you want to mess with for sure,
Nope.
So yeah, she could definitely put a whooping on you, so which kind of says a lot about Zapan. He was kind of hitting on her in the bar there in the movie, a little bit. And I see, I said, God, man, she's 14 years old and you're hitting on her, seriously? A little bit creepy,
I have a feeling creepy is kind of the standard in some places in Iron City.
Yeah, probably so, so but anyway, she set him straight. For sure in this body. And I would bet that this body right here kind of reminds Do Not Stand By of his daughter to a degree, doesn't it? If she was a cyborg, right? Do Not Stand By.
Well, yeah, for sure. And especially the way Ito was treating Alita. And that was what Alita was so upset about. Why she was so keen on Hugo showing her what she could be and not being the doll that Ito was kind of treating her as.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the novelization too, she says something like, "I'm not just your little plaything or play doll," or something like that.
I think she was complaining to Hugo that Ito wanted to keep her his perfect little girl or something.
Yeah,
like that.
that's right. That's right. That was in the movie too. Yeah, that's right. So, and at that point in time, I think she started realizing that there was more to her than because, like, say, she had no memory when she came out.
Actually, I think the battle in the alley with the 3 cyborgs, that's when she started to realize there was a lot more to her, because she had that flashback to the battle on the moon.
Yeah, that's right. And she told Ito that, right? I was on the moon. Yeah, for sure.
And he felt he was protecting her from what he saw as a violent past, but she was keen to get to know what kind of past she had, as most people who end up in that situation with amnesia usually want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, X-Man 577 said he likes her cat body, so he's in agreement with the Creek on that one, but that's the Imagine It Was 2.1 body, that body is. So so anyway, yeah, a little girl in appearance only.
Yep.
In this case. Although I would say that if there was a TR cyborg of a teenage boy, that'd be appropriate for her, I guess. But like you say, Lee, in Iron City, probably the social mores are a lot different.
Probably quite a bit looser if some of the places around here in the real world have been any indication.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, any more thoughts about this doll body? I think, there is one thought I did have, why it's called the doll body. And they kind of address this a little bit in the novelization. When she first wakes up, she has the thought that it describes all the little flowers on her and all that kind of stuff like that, and all the swirls and curly cues and, just in every appendage almost, and she had the thought of, this is like a doll, she had that thought, that's like a doll,
And so the material also looks very similar to what a porcelain doll would be composed of.
Yeah. Although I always thought it looked a little bit more like PVC pipe or something to me, that's, it doesn't look porcelain to me. It looks like it has a little bit more of a,
well, I worked with a lot of PVC, and for me, it had a bit too much translucence to be.
Yeah, well, it does that. That's true. It does on that one. PVC is just solid white,
Yeah.
So, but it just the kind of the way it looks to me reminded me of that. But it's kind of, you're probably right. It's probably a little bit of a cross between somewhat of a porcelain.
Well, I don't think it's actually porcelain. I think it just has the appearance of porcelain. It's probably some kind of high grade, high impact plastic of some sort.
Yeah. So anyway, any more thoughts about the doll body? We're going to vote on this, by the way. This is Finestro's right. This is Ito's doll body. That's right. Because he made it for his real daughter. She
didn't really feel at home until she got into a berserker.
which was the one designed to interface with her core.
Yeah, that's right. And what's interesting about this, you know, she was able in that berserker body to control that plasma weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those subsystems that she had that you would connect to on her core were probably not connected in this doll body because there is no plasma, you know, in this, there's no arc.
I imagine there was a whole lot of jury rigging of some sort that Ito had to do to get a Martian technology cybercore to interface with a civilian Earth tech model body.
Yeah, I would think so, you know, because I think in the novelization, it describes the embodiment process as like a 2 or 3 day, 36 hours or something.
So there
like
had
that.
to be a lot of modifications he made to both systems in some degree to get them to fit together and communicate properly.
He probably put all kinds of converters and, you know, that kind of, you know, in there to let one technology talk to another. And he may have even had to develop some on the fly, you know, so. Yeah, she's a Martian, that's for sure. So, you know, yeah, she's an alien. Still human, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, not an Earth human, but yeah.
Not an Earth human. Yeah, that's right. So. Okay, any last thoughts? Hey, do not stand by. You have any last thoughts on the doll body?
Well, I have to give Rosa Salazar a lot of props for acting like she's uncomfortable in that body, like she was very upright and very uncomfortable in the first few scenes, and it really carries over to the big transition when she goes over the berserker body, and suddenly she feels like a lioness. She feels like she's really herself. So Rosa Salazar did a great job acting those that transition.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember her talking about that in an interview. Yeah. How she modified her stance and the way she held herself and everything.
Well, that's a good point too. Do not stand by in that berserker body has adaptive technology in it, whereas the doll body really does not. It's just a solid. I mean, it's a good body. There's no doubt about it. I mean, any body that you could embody a human mind or human brain and even heart or whatever, you know, that you could put in a body like that. This is really advanced tech, this body, but this body is nowhere near advanced as the berserker body, because that berserker body has the ability to adapt, whereas this one doesn't, you know. So
I don't think any of the bodies on Earth actually have that capability, really.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
You know, it just occurred to me too, this body is probably a work of art on the inside, because I've seen a little bit of some of the cutaways of the interior, and it looks almost steampunk inside.
Yeah.
And that seems to me like not something you would normally see in the sort of cybernetics that they have in there. It's probably, again, the personal touch Ito put on to make his daughter's body look like a work of art inside and out.
Yeah. He put a lot of time in it, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Finestro says that she's not an alien, she's superhuman. You know, I mean, we had a stream, gosh, I guess it's been a couple of years now.
She's an alien superhuman.
Yeah, well, we had that discussion of whether she was a metahuman or not, you know. And when we used the term metahuman in that stream, it was in relation to the DC characters.
Well, the DC characters, I think metahuman would apply, simply because in that universe, metahuman is a catch-all for anyone who is superhuman in capabilities. Yeah,
we had that discussion where Maxie didn't think she was a metahuman. He thought she was like an enhanced human, you know. And I could see the argument too, but the only thing is like, you know, that character Cyborg that's in
he was classified as a type of metahuman.
As a metahuman, yeah. So, and she is very much like him, you know. She can't fly like he can, you know. She doesn't have those thrusters on her where she can fly, but I would imagine if you hook up thrusters to her berserker body, or certainly her Imaginos body, she could fly, you know. It'd be no doubt about that.
Well, her Imaginos body could just grow the thrusters.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. She could just grow them if she wanted to fly, you know.
I mean, heck, she grew wings.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, I think we had like 4 people on the panel, and 3 thought she was, if not a metahuman, at least advanced, or at least kind of an advanced human, or that kind of thing. And Maxie thought, nah, she's not a metahuman, she's enhanced human or something like that, which you could see the argument in all ways, so
yeah.
But the Creek thinks she's a metahuman. But
yeah, they already had cyborgs, and I think every cybernetically augmented human they had in DC was classified as a metahuman.
Yeah. So you're right, Finestro. She is definitely a superhuman, and we had that discussion too in our Imaginos body. But we'll get to that one when we get to the Imaginos bodies themselves. So, any other thoughts about this? That this body's pretty. There's no doubt about it. So.
That seems to be its main function.
Yeah, to be pretty, yeah. And certainly that one on the right, I mean, that's, for a 14-year-old, that's pretty sexy right there. So, but anyway, I guess Japan thought so, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, the Berserker body. Well, Hugo did too, to a degree, but he really fell in love with this body, didn't he? So, yeah, it's like Do Not Stand By said, this body is... She is a young woman in this body.
Now, according to the novel, apparently it's also anatomically correct, which isn't something they showed in the movie.
No. Yeah, they would not have been able to.
Yeah, that would have been an R rating.
Yeah, it would, for sure, But I mean, I wondered when the first time I saw this movie, when she was approaching the mirror, she was had no clothes on, and when she after she woke up in the Berserker body, she had no clothes on, doing this finger stand thing on the right. I thought, wow, I can't believe they let this get by, but yeah, you're right, it wasn't anatomically correct. So yeah, David Watson says she's his angel of death. Yeah, she's actually called that in the manga in her toon body. She's
actually, I think she's also called that. That's one of her monikers in the motorball arena. They call her the Angel of Death.
Yeah, that's right. They did. Yeah. And Finestro thinks this is the best body. So I'm going to write that down, Finestro, that the Berserker body is yours. So that's going to be your vote. Yeah, the Creek likes this body too, and it does have that adaptive technology. It has self-healing ability, and in the manga, she's got a lot of, just like a order of magnitude greater capability in this body than she would even in the doll body, or certainly against a human. She's, she has the ability to run near Mach 7 in the manga anyway, and she's very, very strong in this body. Able to hold up that Gatling cannon,
with one arm, with
4 barrels that are 100 caliber, barrels firing that thing. I can't imagine how the kick of that thing might have been, although they may have had some kind of correcting mechanism to make it not kick so much,
A lot of modern weapons include some sort of recoil dampening system.
Yeah, I think so, but still, because
it would be pretty hefty. Yeah.
Well, I calculated based on, the size and the Gal 19. I don't know if you know what that is, Lee. It's a Gatling gun they use on helicopters, but the military.
The Gal 19, isn't that the A-10's gun?
I don't know.
Or am I thinking of another one?
I don't know about the Gal. I don't know if the Gal 19, that might be the Gal 21 on that gun, on that thing, because they can change those guns, for sure. But what I'm thinking of is the Apache helicopter. They have the Gal 9. They had at one point the Gal 19. They might have
electrically driven 3-barrel rotary heavy machine gun in the 50 caliber range.
Yeah, and that thing weighs 139 pounds. So based on the size, looking at Alita, when she was dragging it, it was
almost, if it was stowed on end, it was almost as big as she was. Yeah,
that's right. So anyway, and I assumed, of course, that the makeup of the gun itself, in terms of its density of parts and all that, since its size was so much different, I calculated it probably weighed about 600 pounds, something like that.
I was thinking of the Gal 8 Avenger. That's the A-10's gun.
The GAL 8. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Well, I know back in the 70s, the GAL 8. Yeah, that's right. The GAL 8, I think, was on the A10, I think. Or was, yeah, the A10. That's the Warthog. Yeah, that's right. So, did you ever make it to Eglin Air Force Base, Lee?
I don't think I did, no.
Yeah, I worked
my
there
first posting was over at a Royal Air Force Base in England.
Ah.
And it was Mildenhall. And I visited Lakenheath, which wasn't too far away.
Oh, I had a cousin that was stationed in Lakenheath.
Yeah, we had a lot of F-15s over there.
Yeah.
And then my next posting was Beale Air Force Base in California, which wasn't far from where I lived.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Eglin's in Florida, and that's where I worked there for about 2 years. So anyway, not as a military type though. So
yeah, so I didn't do a lot of traveling as a when I was in the military. Just went to England and came back to the U.S.
Yes. Okay, here's our Berserker body, and of course it's now, you know, the doll body had nanotech in it, but it was just in the cyber blood. It wasn't, you know, she didn't have any kind of self-healing capability or anything like that.
Yeah, I imagine the nanotech is probably actually fairly widespread to get the nano circuitry and stuff down to compact everything.
Yeah,
but it's probably not. It's like a Model T nanotech versus a Lamborghini nanotech.
Yeah, that's what this one would be. Would be more like the Lamborghini, you know. So, yeah, the nanotech on this is hundreds of years in the future. Obviously, we had that discussion of one time about the difference between her nanotech and Iron Man's nanotech. Now, Iron Man's nanotech is pretty advanced, but it ain't 200, 300 years in advance of what Alita has, you know. So, because you'll see scenes, we'll talk about this probably a little bit, you know, tomorrow. I don't want to get it too much into it, but there were scenes in the Avenger movies where, where she, you know, where he gets damaged, you know, he'll take a hit from a rocket or whatever. And I think Thanos, you know, would crack his armor and you'd see a hole in it and stuff like that. Well, on Alita, if that happened, the nanotech would repair, you know, within 5 to 10 seconds.
With the more recent suit that he used in the Avengers movie, it did repair, but it had to use up other parts of the suit. So it would take areas that weren't under direct attack and move the material into areas that were in direct attack or cover more vital areas.
Yeah.
But hers seemed to basically rebuild itself to some degree, at least. Which I imagine is probably easier with a physical weapon, because a physical weapon is not going to necessarily destroy or vaporize material. It's just going to bend it and move it out of the way, which means the material's still there to be rebuilt by the nanotech. Yeah. But if it were an energy weapon, like another plasma weapon or something like that, that would, you know, actually destroy some of the material. So it probably wouldn't be able to do it as easily.
Looks like X-Man says you were in his backyard. So, because he used to go to air shows there, I guess. So, yeah. Any thoughts on this one? Do not stand by.
Well, the last half of the movie was just absolutely amazing, and they had so many great action scenes with this body. Some of the greatest action scenes I've seen in any movie. So, I really, my heart goes out to this body because of the amazing capability she had. And as great as the alley fight was, it pales in comparison with all of the battles that she has later at the motorball tryout and then at the factory.
Yeah. Yeah, she's certainly very capable in this body. Yeah, X-Man says what part of California that was. He grew up in Shasta County, wherever that is. That's up near San Francisco, isn't it? Or
I'm not really sure. In fact, I can't even remember the name of the county I was living in. I just know it was in a town called Grass Valley, not too far from Sacramento and Auburn.
Yeah, that part of California is pretty, especially you go out in that Livermore area. You know, yeah, mandatory carry says it's not even close to where he was. So, but anyway, So yeah, this berserker body was probably the body she had when she was in the military too. Because the reason why is, you know, we've had that discussion. There's like two bodies, but you know, she did discover this on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, and you saw there was like 6 or 8 other, you know,
empty
hangers,
racks,
empty racks where they were hanging these bodies. So you got to figure the bodies were at least pretty similar, if not exactly the same. You know, so yeah, this is definitely a Martian body for sure. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like
they made a big point about her identity code activating it. So
yes.
So if there were variations, then they would have restricted the ones that her identity code could activate to be the ones that she would be able to interface with.
Point.
Yeah, I was just thinking that might actually have been a ship she was actually directly serving on, and it actually was holding spare equipment for her to use in if she needed it during the attack on Zalem.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And unless they had some general code, you know, because it's like she has Wi-Fi, you know, on her body.
Oh, I imagine they've got some really advanced Wi-Fi in some of those systems.
Yeah, and then she activated it just by stepping near it, I guess. But or maybe when she punched in that code that brought down that force field, you know. So, but I think you're right. That's a good point. You know,
considering the scanning imaging systems that Ida was using in his clinic, they probably had even more advanced stuff on board that ship. So it probably read her core and everything as soon as she stepped on deck.
Which is amazing since that ship had been underwater.
Well, half underwater, but yeah.
Yeah, half underwater. Yeah, for 300 years with no maintenance on it or anything like that. And
if that ship was using similar nanotech to what the Berserker bodies had, it may have had self-repairing systems.
Yeah, that's
so exactly it may end up lasting hundreds of years longer.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, she's got Uwu in this body too, for sure. Of course, she's going to have Uwu in every body, so it doesn't matter. Except that one that Nova wanted to put her in at one point, the octopus body. That didn't pan out.
Nope.
So yeah, she wouldn't have had Uwu in that body. So
every time I hear about that, I keep thinking of this one scene this one episode of Futurama. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show.
Oh, yes. I've seen
where Leela ends up, her mutation goes out of control. She starts turning into like an octopus from the neck down. That's what I keep thinking.
Or it could be like those critters that are on those aliens that were on The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of like those. You know, they had that kind of weird glass bubble over them, and they had one eye, and that was kind of weird. Of course, The Simpsons. That's and Futurama. Yeah, those are parodies, I guess. So, okay, it looks like Mandatory Carry says on the Wi-Fi theory, she entered not a general code, but specific information to request the suit. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the thing. Her core may have detected that she was not in a standard body. So as soon as she got within range of the ship, it would send out a call. I need a replacement.
Yeah. And then of course she had to enter in a code on that keyboard, whatever that keyboard was.
That was probably programmed into her core, and it was used automatically.
Yeah.
Which is part of where I was getting the thinking that they had some kind of neural programming that they could put their soldiers through. Because they could just program a lot of that stuff right into their neurology or their nervous system, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember what the term is.
That way they wouldn't have to be conscious to get repaired.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would also, like I said, speed up training a bit when you just have to basically spend maybe a couple of days inputting the program into your soldier. You end up going over a whole lot of time spent training them and things.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see, like a calling her like a subspace channel. Yeah, it said something like that in the novelization.
Oh, if it was subspace, yeah, that's highly advanced communications technology.
Yeah,
That's extra dimensional almost.
Well, it did say something in the novelization about, I don't know if it was like an electric shock, but when she got close enough to it, it kind of did that, you know, in the novelization. And
yeah, there was an energy transfer of some sort.
And the body kind of detected, you know, her core, I guess, or it detected her core, like you said, and it did call to the body, or the body was calling out and had been calling out for hundreds of years, you know, and it just kept calling out, you know, I guess until something came into play there, you know.
Yeah, subspace in most every science fiction universe is typically a FTL form of communication.
Yes.
Faster than light.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's right. We can track fighters today like that. Well,
yeah, I mean, we have highly advanced tracking systems on all kinds of stuff these days.
Yeah, oh, even in your phone, they can track. You can track where you are. You know, I mean, yeah, for sure. That's a good point.
Speaking of the phone, that's one of the reasons I never bought into that whole thing of being they're like the government's trying to put tracking systems in us and stuff like that. It's like they already did. It's called your smartphone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got that phone. You can be tracked. You know, now you can turn that off too. You know, so.
Well, they did find out, at least in one brand. I'm not sure how widespread it is, but I found in one brand it might be in another. Who knows? But there was one kind that had a back door that allowed them to covertly activate the microphone on the phone.
Oh, I do remember seeing that in the news.
For a while, they were even doing that with smart televisions too, that people were buying.
Well, hackers, you know, can hack your camera, you know, on your computer, you know, on your laptop or on your tower or something like that. So
yeah.
So anyway, the Berserker body, the Creek really likes the Berserker body. That's not my favorite body, but boy, it's up there. You know, it's
in the movieverse. That one is my favorite.
Yeah, that one is too in the movieverse. Yeah.
The manga.
Yeah.
Probably the Imaginos.
Which one?
Either one. They both seem to have really just whacked out over the top capabilities. They were both shapeshifters.
Yeah, that's right. Well, was 1.0, well, we'll get to 1.0. But let's see, there was 1.0, 2.0, and 2.1, but 2.1 was just 2.0, but it was connected to the Singularity, wasn't it? And it was connected to Melchizedek, I guess. So it was really, I guess it was like, well, that 2.1 had a tail though, remember? Cat Lita.
Well, temporarily. Yeah, I mean, I think she did that when she had a piece of debris stuck to her butt. She just turned it into a cattail.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. So what do you think of this body? Do Not Stand By?
Yeah, being a bigger fan of the movie, this is my favorite overall. But I hope that we'll see the Imaginos body in the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Considering James Cameron's propensity for being more grounded in his sci-fi, I'm not sure there's going to be a whole lot of a high chance of that. But there may end up being something that's even on a higher grade of power than the Berserker.
Well, the way I see it, you know, he, like you say, he does like to be grounded. We can talk about this when we get to the Imaginos bodies, but I don't. If they do Imaginos body in a sequel, I think it would be in like the third movie, maybe, you know, or fourth. The Creek wants as many movies as they'll give us, you know.
Oh yeah,
and that's what the Creek wants. But you know, that I guess they probably wouldn't have 3 Imaginos bodies. They'd probably just have one, you know, and ground it like you were saying. Maybe make it like a super Berserker body or something like that. You know, he might do something like that. You know, maybe give it the ability to fly or something. Although I'm not sure he's going to want that kind of a situation in his movies. That makes her almost like Superman. So probably not going to happen. So any last thoughts about the Berserker body? Now, this is Maxie's favorite body.
Yep.
The motorball body. You know,
I agree. It's a very stylish body, but it's not really my favorite. Definitely his, though.
Yeah, for sure. I like this body too, but it's not my favorite in the movie verse either. But you know, we've had little discussions about, you know, I say, well, this is a body that, you know, she's an athlete in this body. So, well, it is a combat sport. Okay, yeah, that's right. So, and Mandatory Carry says, this body's hot. Yeah, it is. Although I would say Alita in any of the bodies is going to be somewhat hot, maybe varying degrees of hotness, I guess. But yeah, this is Maxie's favorite body right here. And I think he's you know, kind of compared it to something like a Ferrari or something like that.
Yeah, sports car, high performance sports car.
Yeah, that's right.
Which makes sense. It's designed for a high performance sport. Sure, it's a combat sport, but it's still a high performance sport in which maneuverability and speed are fairly essential.
And the parts of the body too they're interchangeable, I guess. So I guess when you get into now this is Earth tech, you know, so yeah, I would assume the Maginot body would be pretty good at motorball, although this body is probably specifically designed for motorball, you know, so it may have the edge on Berserker body in terms of playing motorball. Now, it's not going to have the edge on the Berserker body in terms of fighting. That's for sure, you know, although she does have that plasma weapon, or at least access to a plasma weapon, you know, in this body. So I guess her control systems are still in this body. He's probably got them wired up to where he could activate the plasma, I guess, in the sword handle, I suppose. So, so anyway, yeah, this body's really sleek, and yeah, Mandatory Carry. It's very hot, I think, for sure. You know, but you know, yeah, it's not my favorite body in the movie though. But it's a good body. There's no doubt about it. You know, so very similar to the body in the manga too, isn't it? So you see the little shoulder protector on there, and she's got those in the movie body and that kind of stuff. So, and what she's got on her arm. So yeah, that's right. Vanessa also says it's a good body too, but it's not his favorite.
Seems
body,
Maxie might be in the minority here.
Yeah, I think so. You know, but you know, we all love Alita no matter what body she's in, for sure. You know, so.
It's not a completely fair comparison because we don't really get to see this body in action. We just see it in basically in the dramatic scene when she raises the sword. So I guess I'll hold off until the sequel and see what this body can do in motorball matches before I directly compare it with Berserker body. But just as the doll body represented Ito's love for his original daughter, I like to interpret this body as Ito's love for Alita as she really wants to be the warrior that she really is. And I like to interpret this as Ito taking his love of custom crafting from a doll body mentality to the motorball body. So I'm interpreting this as Ito's work.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do not stand by, because in terms of how he has grown accepting, you know, his growing acceptance of Alita as not a
for
teenager.
Who she is.
Yeah, for who she is, because you remember in the locker room, you know, when he's, you know, putting her wheel feet on, you know, she said, "You made these for me," you know, and he said, "Yes," you know, and he put a lot into those wheel feet, you know, so she, you know, I mean, she seemed to really appreciate it, you know, so I mean, yeah, you could see that in this body, you know, and I agree with you. I think Ito put this body together for her too. You know, you could see the investment in time and effort in this body. You know, I mean, he went the second mile on this body, I think. So. Any other thoughts about the motorball body? And I agree with you too, do not stand by. We didn't see a whole lot of what this body can do because it's only in one scene, you know, or one segment, I guess. But, you know, in the manga, the body is pretty powerful, but in the manga, it doesn't seem to be as powerful to me. And just reading the manga as the Berserker body, but that's not the movie. So, we'll have to wait. You're right. We're going to have to wait to see what this body can do when we get the sequel. Because I am so sure that since they ended the movie like they ended it, I'll bet you the very first arc, in the sequel is going to be a motorball arc. That's just my gut feeling, and then toward the end of the movie, they may put her in like the civilian body or something like that, so. Well, she's definitely a young woman in this body as she was in the Berserker body. I have a feeling in this body, just looking at her on the right there, hard to tell from a drawing on the left, but on the right, she looks to be in her early to mid 20s to me. That's just my thought. I mean,
that's what I was thinking about, early 20s.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely is not a teenager. I mean, certainly expression on her face, is not that little giddy, happy-go-lucky teenage face. It's more of a, well, in this particular case, it's more, I'm going to cut your jewels off.
I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's a stern look right there, so she's she's learned who she is at this point, so. Any other thoughts about this motorball body?
Well, not having seen it in action, I think we can only really go off of the manga one.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I don't remember a whole lot about the manga one, unfortunately.
Well, Kishiro did a pretty good job of drawing the action. He does a good job of drawing action no matter what, but it was pretty good, in terms of seeing how fast it was and stuff like that, and its capability to fight, because she can fight in this body. There's no doubt about it,
Oh, yeah. I mean, she takes on those, that biker gang.
Yes. Yeah, she does.
And she does it like casually as she's having a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, last week's stream, we talked about she'd be a good bodyguard. Yeah, she would. You wouldn't even have to worry about too much. You'd just be carrying on a conversation with her and she's protecting you the whole way. Yeah. Okay, we can move on to the next one, I guess, and that'd be the civilian body. Now, of course, we don't know much about this one except it was in the Japan arc, I guess. The drawing, both these drawings are not from the manga itself, but they're representations. But, she sings in the Kansas bar, and, she's definitely a single girl in this body. She's got her own apartment and stuff like that, and then, of course, she actually fights Zerker Pan in this body. And, I guess most people have read the manga here. She actually wins. Beats him, although it was a pretty tough fight, but the fact that she was in this body and Zapan was in the Berserker body, that doesn't mean that the Berserker body is less powerful than this body, because Alita is in this body, so she knows Panzerkunst and all that stuff in this body. Plus she had those collapser rounds that Nova gave her, so. But yeah, she's yeah, that's right. Her single biggest, that's right, Mandatory Carry, you're actually right on this one. This is going to be in the sequel. This is going to be a big battle, and she's going to be in this body. Now, I don't know if they'll put her in this body in the sequel. They, sometimes in a movie they kind of divert away, from the source material sometimes, but if they want to stay close, if they want to stay with the manga, that this body is going to be the one she needs to be in. But my feeling is they may put her in a Berserker body, and Zapan in a Berserker body, and then see how that goes, so. Well,
Zapan wasn't killed at the end of the first movie. So if he shows up again and they do the Zapan arc, it might be that Nova somehow got a hold of her Berserker body, just like he did in the manga. But in this one, he intentionally uses it to turn Zapan into some kind of a monster to try and kill her.
Yeah.
And she ends up having to use perhaps her motorball body.
Could be. You know, could do that. Or it could be Nova. You know, Gelda had a berserker body, and maybe Nova got a hold of Gelda's
that
body.
too, yeah.
Yeah, and then maybe he kind of, you know, engineered that to make, you know, Zapan a monster. And then of course Alita says, well, I get she don't want to be in the berserker body because that's the body she was in when Hugo died. Too many memories and stuff like this, you know. But she comes to the realization that, well, if I'm going to beat this guy, I got to go back in the berserker body, you know. So there's a lot of ways they can go with this, you know, for sure. But this is a pretty cool body, you know. This is a, you know, definitely a young woman in this body too, you know, but not your typical young woman. She's still badass in this body. She can still kick anybody's butt in the bar, even in this body, you know. So anyway, Finestro says he thinks this body's kind of a funny bar body, Alita body. I don't know if what the inference there is. Maybe bar fly. I don't know if I'd call Alita a bar fly. That's for sure. You know, not to her face anyway.
Lounge singer Alita.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit of AC/DC reference. Yeah, that's right. So what do you think? Do Not Stand By. Have you read much of the manga Do Not Stand By, or?
I've read the original 9 volumes. I've read Martian Chronicles as well. I'm still working through Last Order, so I'm a bit out of order.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the civilian body, it's kind of hard to work into the story that they have with the movie, because the manga reason for the civilian body was because she left Ito. She went on the motorball arc, and her berserker body got stolen by her tuner. Her tuner was storing the body, but the berserker body got stolen by Zapan. So yeah, the movie I think has to be a little bit different because they didn't have the falling out with Ito. I think the motorball body is a good way to do it. If they do go with a civilian body, I guess they kind of have to explain why the motorball professionals they kind of have a civilian body to go around town with, and their motorball body for their competition. And I guess they could explain that and have Alita do that as well, and kind of give the reasoning behind why the motorball professionals need a civilian body besides their competition body.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. Anyway, we just got joined by Den. Den, how the hell are you? Or he's muted now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. How the hell are you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. How about y'all?
Oh, we're doing good. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, you too, man. I was working out. You guys do this I guess at a bad time for me. I guess it's a good time for everybody else.
Yeah, we kind of have to fit it in the best we can, you know, because being so many different time zones, you know, I guess we try to do the best we can. Plus, I have to work during the day, so so anyway, it is what it is, you know. Yeah, mandatory Carrie's glad to see you in here too, Den. So,
hey, how's it going?
All right.
It's been a while. Every time you send me this, I'm always like, damn, I'm doing something.
Yeah. So anyway, we were talking. I'm sorry. Topic is which of Alita's bodies are the best bodies, and I'm just going to kind of go back briefly on this. So anyway, let me get back to I'm not going to stay on them too long, but I would say that let's see, where are we here? We started out with the Urn body, and then we went to the doll body, then the berserker body, and the motorball body, and now we're on the civilian body. So we got 10 different bodies that we're gonna talk about. So this is the body she was in when Zapan, she runs into Zapan in the manga, and she just says, "How's it going, Zapan?" Kind of snarky, something like, "Did you miss me?" something like that, you know. And he's kind of nuts, he's kind of lost it, he saw her.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
Yeah, he did. I guess he saw her on television, didn't he, playing motorball, and it kind of flipped a switch on his brain, I guess, and went nuts, Actually killed his woman, so
yeah.
Thinking it was Alita, I guess. So
no, he was having a freak out, and
that's right.
Unrestrained movement of his arm. He hit her a little too hard, ripped her head off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
In the manga, I think it landed in a big soup pot.
Yeah. Which is not a good thing.
No.
So, yeah, but this body is a badass body, but it's not like, say, the Berserker body or the Motorball body. It's kind of like the doll body, except an adult version of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So in this body, Alita's definitely in her 20s, for sure, probably mid 20s even.
I think all of this takes place a couple of years after the Motorball arc in the manga.
Yeah.
Because this is when she's like settled down into a semi-normal life, just sort of doing her own thing.
Yeah. So I think she's in her mid 20s. That's just my thought, but who knows? You got that damn what's that little critter on her hat there? What's his name?
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember that it's not what it looks like.
No, it's kind of like a tracking, kind of spying type thing, isn't it?
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, it was basically a surveillance device from Tefari's.
Yeah, that's right. Keeping an eye on her, I guess Nova.
But I think it was actually collecting data for the AR program.
Could be, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which is why I think she ends up getting the offer they extend to her after the Zapan fight, because her inclusion into it would help them get the last pieces they need to make the super soldiers they were looking at.
Oh.
I think. I don't know if I'm remembering it quite clearly, but.
So Do Not Stand By. Do you remember this body from the manga?
Yeah. I think my memory is the same as Lee's. I think that's the gist of it. That it was a couple years after the Motorball arc, and she probably was starting to be tracked by the Tefarians.
Yeah. Yeah, she had her own apartment and all that kind of stuff, and had Joshigan's.
Yeah, I remember the poster of Joshigan on the wall.
Yeah, that's right. So Dan, what's your thought of this body? What's your impression of this body?
Well, I mean, she fought Zapan in it, so it must be something.
Yeah, it's got to be badass. It's probably not as badass as a Berserker body, but it's badass enough with her in it for sure. Okay. So David Watson, it's getting late for him. So anyway, yeah, David, good to have you in here, man. Any other thoughts about the civilian body? We certainly didn't see this one in the movie. So
not really sure there's a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it looks like a relatively unremarkable civilian body. I think the only thing remarkable about it is that Alita inhabits it. That's it.
Yeah, that's about it. And it's like I said, it's an adult version of the doll body, basically. Although it doesn't have all the little flowers and all that stuff on it, I guess. So, okay, the tuned body. Now I bet this is Den's favorite body right here. That's my guess. So,
actually, I'm gonna go. Well, it's my favorite art design, by the way. But my favorite's coming up in a little bit.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I like this body too. Now it's not my favorite body, but I do like this arc a lot. I particularly like that panel on the left, when that building collapses around Yolg and figure 4, and those dumbasses are saying it was a good thing there was a window there, and she's holding up this big gigantic column from crushing them, like with a look on her face is like, you dumbasses. It's funny to see that.
Actually, I kind of got the impression from the look on her face, she's looking to see try to find whoever it was that brought the building down on him.
Yeah.
Pay him back for that.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, on the right, that's where she said, okay, Den, not not our Den here on the stream, but Den in the manga.
Well, this was when she was about to shoot Den, and
Yeah,
Kiyomi got in the way
got in the way, and she said, "All
begged
right,
her
yeah,
not to do it."
yeah, yeah, that's right." So she's wearing that's her wedding dress too, isn't it? I guess she got
I
that.
think
from
it's the
Chaos.
remains of it.
Yeah, she got that from Chaos, I guess. So,
Mhm.
and this tuned body is kind of like the Berserker body. It's Earth Tech, I guess, but it's it does. I don't.
Advanced Earth Tech if it came from Tafari's.
Yeah, and I think now she's in the tuned program, obviously, so it's advanced body, you know. So I don't think it's, in terms of power, I don't think it's quite as powerful as a Berserker body. I don't think. I'm not sure, you know.
Well, I don't think it had the plasma manipulation capability.
Yeah, it didn't have that. Yeah.
But I think in raw physical power, it probably was on par with the Berserker.
Yeah. Well, obviously she's holding up that column with one hand.
Mhm.
So who knows how much that sucker weighs. You know, I remember when I lived in North Carolina some years ago, I had a like a totem pole in the front yard. You know, my second wife and I had this Shawnee, or Shoshone rather, he was Shoshone Indian. You know, we knew that he was a wood carver, you know, and he carved this thing out, had four totem animals on it, and that sucker weighed 600 pounds. You know, I can imagine that thing right there, and that totem pole was like 12 feet high, you know. But that column right there,
that's reinforced concrete.
That's reinforced concrete. That sucker, there's no telling how much that sucker weighs. You know, it probably weighs at least 800 pounds, I would think. You know, and
I would say, considering how long it looks like it might be, it could be close to a ton.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. And she's holding that sucker up with one hand. I just love it, you know. So anyway, this tuned body, this is a body, you know, that she's in. Certainly she meets figure 4 and falls in love with figure 4 and all that, you know. And figure 4 is no chump. You know, I mean, he's badass himself. He killed like 38 cyborgs or something.
Well, that's the thing. I don't necessarily think he killed them. He was looking to defeat 100 cyborgs in hand-to-hand combat. Not necessarily kill them, but just beat them.
Yeah. Well, he did kill that one at the end, I guess, that 38th one, I guess he killed.
Oh, yeah, that was also trying to kill him in return, I think.
Yeah, but he's pretty badass. And, of course, Alita kicks his butt every which way you can think of, you know. And he keeps getting up. She says, God, I cannot believe this guy. You know, anyway, it got her attention, I think, you know. So anyway, Dan, what's your thoughts about his body?
I think y'all got it covered.
All right. Do not stand by. What do you think?
Yeah, not my favorite body, but yeah, she had a lot of great moments in this body in the manga.
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah, riding on that what they called it, the atomic train, didn't they? Had that, I guess it was powered by a nuclear reactor or something like that. And those bandits or whatever they were, you know, attacked the train, I guess.
I think it was Barjack, wasn't it?
Yeah, Barjack guys. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, she played the harmonica in this body. And another funny panel is, you know, figure 4, he starts hitting on her, you know, and she puts her finger in the middle of his forehead and says, "Don't get too close to me, Mr. 4. People that do die." So that was a kind of a funny panel for me anyway. So okay, moving along, I guess. Now here's I've split this up a little bit. That body on the right, I'm not sure that's the Imaginos 2.0 body. It could be, but anyway, in the manga there's 3 versions. Well, 2 versions and 1 subversion, I guess, would be the Imaginos 1.0, 2.0, and then of course there's the Imaginos 2.1 body. And these bodies are super duper advanced, you know, in terms of, you know, in capability anyway. They can do all kinds of crazy shit, can't they? I mean, she can manufacture weapons.
I keep calling them Arthur C. Clarke level advanced.
Yeah, that's right. She's pretty amazing in this body right
near
here.
Magical levels of technology.
Now, when she fought Karula, what body was she? Was she in the? She wasn't in the 2.1 body, was she? I don't remember. Was she in the?
Actually, I can't even recall.
Yeah,
I can barely remember the fight with Karula.
Yeah, she fought Karula. Karula was
remember-
kicking her butt. I mean,
Yeah,
Karula.
because Karula was reading her energy flow, so she could read what she was about to do next.
Yeah, she knew what she was going to do next. Yeah, so.
Then when she saw that Alita had that, was the Fata Morgana?
Fata Morgana, yeah.
Fata Morgana.
Yeah.
She let Alita win. I was under the impression for a while it was part of the reason was she let Alita win because Alita was going to be able to save the Stellar Nursery or something.
Yes. Yeah, but Karula was winning that fight, boy. That's what I. But anyway, that's another story. And of course, the Creek really likes this body right here. That's my favorite body right there. For one thing, it's OP, and the other thing, it's got that cat tail, and I really like that tail. So.
As you have said many times, yes.
Yes, and I know that sounds like I'm a dirty old man, but I can't help it, right, Den? So anyway, but yeah, she's real cool in this body, man. This is the body
I
now.
like the one with the wings too.
Oh yeah, and that's something that she, once again, I mean, she's a shapeshifter, and I don't know if she's a shapeshifter in the 1.0 body or not.
I remember Nova's, I think it was that recording he left her for when she woke up. I remember him saying something about basically it would respond to her thoughts and she could do just about anything she wanted in it.
Okay, so maybe she was a shapeshifter in 1.0.
At least to some degree, I think. Maybe not as much as the later versions, but I think in the 1.0 there was still some level of shape-shifting ability, I think.
Yeah. And of course 2.0 and 2.1 are pretty similar, except in 2.1, I guess she's got the Fata Morgana, doesn't she? Or at least she's hooked up to the singularity. And
I think she's hooked up to all that other, like the supercomputer and the singularity, and got all the upgrades and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Melchizedek, she's hooked up to that. And hooked up to has the power of a black hole. I mean, holy shit. I mean, that's OP right there. That's one of the reasons I like this body. I mean, this is Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is Goku level stuff right here, isn't it? I think Dan may have stepped away. But anyway, in this 2.1 body, this is like Superman type level stuff. And this is what I was saying a while ago. If they put her in one of the, I would say at the very earliest would be in the third movie, maybe toward the end, or maybe if they make a fourth movie, she might, she would get in the Imaginos body. But I don't think they would have three different versions of the body like they got here. The 1.0, the 2.0, and the 2.1.
They'd probably have to condense it down to just the one style.
To just one Imaginos body, because they got to kind of go through, I don't know about it, they would have to explain it that much, but they would have to go through a little bit of a, sort of a describing type of segment or arc to tell you a little bit about the Imaginos bodies, And I think that'd be, movies are short, like we said. I'm not sure they could pull that off, They might
add another half hour to the next movies in line.
Probably would, Now, what they might be able to do is in a series, they might be able to pull this off,
Oh, in the series, they could easily do it.
Yeah, I think so, But anyway, this body right here, this is the Creek's favorite body. That's not to say that I don't like these two bodies. I do, and I think the 1.0 body is the body she was in that side story. I think it's at the end of the book set. Not I don't know what volume it was if they had that, but in the book set they have those alternate endings and alternate stories and other stuff like that. And I think in one of those in that second volume of the book set is where she was running near the speed of light, and I think that was in the Imaginos 1.0 body, because we've talked about this in prior streams where she was running and things in front of her were blue shifted and things behind her were red shifted, so that you have to be going to get that kind of distinct color when you're running, you got to be going at least 20% the speed of light.
Mhm.
And from the description, from what they said, she had to be going even faster than that. So,
Or her thought processes were also massively boosted. So she was thinking
heck
hundreds
yeah.
of times faster than a normal human.
Yeah, we had that. We talked about that, I guess, last week. We talked about how badass she was in the Imaginos bodies. Her reaction time and her ability to move and dodge things would have to be on the order of nano or picoseconds.
Mhm.
Because if she
I imagine, I was just going to say, I imagine being able to think and react at those speeds
yeah,
might make it difficult for her to relate to other people, because she's at that point she's starting to sort of I don't want to say ascend, but she's starting to sort of exist on a somewhat different plane than everybody else.
well, we talked about that. She's almost godlike in this body
Mm-hmm.
right here. I mean, she's hooked up to Melchizedek. She's hooked up to the singularity, which gives her immense power. Now, when she was in the berserker body and the doll body and the civilian body and all that, she had that, she had the antimatter microreactor heart, but in this body, she's probably thousands of times, or at least maybe orders of magnitude, much more power in this body than she would have, say, in her berserker body.
Yeah, the singularity, I think it was also called a wormhole. I'm not sure if it was.
Yeah.
But whatever it was, I think it was basically a limitless, unending supply of power for her.
Yeah. I mean, a crazy OP. Now, the way Cameron, I don't think Cameron would allow that to happen in a movie, to be that kind of OP, but he would probably make he would probably, what I think it would happen is he would just have one body called the Imaginos body, and it would be maybe stronger than the berserker body, a super berserker body, but it wouldn't have this kind of power. It wouldn't be like Superman or Black Adam or any of them. It wouldn't be that kind of power, it'd be just stronger, much stronger than the berserker body, maybe. I think that's kind of what they would do. But
well, that's the thing. You take the berserker technology, and that's 300 years old. So if you were able to take that technology and advance it 300 years, you might get something approaching an Imaginos type body.
Yeah, that's right. And these cells, Imaginos cells, are similar in function in some ways. Now, this is fiction, obviously, but similar in a lot of ways to berserker cells, except on a higher level, I guess, so.
I was going to say, this here, Imaginos 1.0 is my favorite body.
Okay.
And specifically the version from the end of the original manga.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking about, her running near the speed of light, in that one story,
Yeah, that's my favorite version. I'd wish to see, because the thing is part of the reason why I like it is so much is the art style there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nice.
The fact that she actually looked happy, for once in the story.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of that stuff, and that was part of the reason why last story was a little bit jarring, because it kind of does shift the tone a little bit and kind of depowers the body a little bit and stuff like that. So that's my favorite version, though. And I told you before, not a big fan of the cattail. So
yeah. Well, the Creek likes that cattail, that's for sure. Had to be careful. That's my niece, so.
I'm more partial to the wings myself.
Yeah, I like the wings too. Those right there, those are Damascus blades, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the feathers are sword blades.
So yeah, she's a shapeshifter in that one. God damn, that's badass. Whoa. Boy, if she was mad at you and was coming after you, you just may as well just say, okay, I'm done.
No, if she were mad enough to come after you, you probably wouldn't see her coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, do not. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, on the upside, it'd be too fast for you to suffer.
Yeah, that's right. I think, though, even in this body, now, we've talked on other streams about how Alita has got some gray areas. I mean, she's not the superhero archetype, she just isn't, she's not a superhero. She does have dark moments, most definitely, particularly in the cartoon.
Yeah, there's been a
body, I
lot
guess.
of discussion in the notes that Cameron had on that one collector's edition somebody put up on the website. Cameron did make note that she does have a bloodlust
Yeah.
that can break out or come dangerously close to breaking out sometimes. And
Yeah,
it's
like
something
when
she's aware of and she fights against it.
Yeah, well, it's funny where that's kind of in one way similar to Superman, where he's fighting that too, where he's always perceived as being good and all that, and he has a little bit of a dark inclinations, but he's always fighting that, something like that. At least in some of the comic books I read years ago, he did, So anyway, Do Not Stand By. What's your thoughts about any of these Imaginos bodies?
Well, I don't know a lot about the 2.1 and 2.0 bodies because I haven't gotten there in last order, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for 1.0 as well, like Ben in the original 9 volumes when she was traveling up the tube to try to save what was left of humanity, and as she was going near the speed of light and dodging bullets, and she was contemplating why she was doing this, and she was kind of coming to the final conclusion of her character arc, and then she decides to sacrifice herself after becoming virtually a goddess, and then she got rewarded by being reborn as a human. I thought that was a pretty nice ending to the first 9 volumes.
Yeah. That was that Flower of Life, or was it Flower of Life, or whatever that damn thing was?
I think it was the Tree of Life.
Tree of Life. That's right. Yeah. Where she, I guess, figure 4 was looking for, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And her DNA, I'm not sure how, I can't remember how this went, but
her
they got
consciousness got stored in the supercomputer, and the same cells that were in the Imaginos body that created the Tree of Life also managed to reconstitute an organic body for her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And of course, figure 4 finds her and all that. That was kind of neat. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So I guess Imaginos 1.0 is your favorite body, or not? What you said? Did you say the Berserker body was your favorite body? Do Not Stand By?
Yeah. Berserker is my favorite because it was shown in the movie. But I might have my mind changed if we get to the 3rd or 4th movie and they have the Imaginos body in the 3rd or 4th movie. And I'd love to see what direction they go with this. I mean, one way they could go is like the 2001 Star Child thing, like David Bowman becoming the Star Child, having the Imaginos body basically be the monolith version of Alita. Or they could go the route of the original 9 volumes where she ascends to saving humanity and she's rewarded by becoming a human.
Yeah. Well, in any of these bodies, particularly this body right here, she's a goddess. I mean, she's badass in this body. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like that description you said. Do not stand by when she was, running near the speed of light, dodging bullets and contemplating. She's thinking about other stuff. I mean, holy shit! People are shooting at you, and you got. Yeah, I mean, your thought process is so fast, that you can have 2 or 3 trains of thoughts happening in like nanoseconds,
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of her, I guess in that 1.0 body. So, and I can only imagine the 2.1 body is, probably orders of magnitude higher than that. So, like Dan, I said a while ago that in this body right here, she's like Goku and Vegeta and that level, isn't she?
Probably about the Saiyan arc level, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
that's right.
Arc.
Yeah, she's pretty badass in this body. Yeah, she's still got Uwu. I don't know if Angelus is still out there. I hadn't seen him in the chat, but. We're going to be talking about that a little bit. Now, here's a human body. Now, that's the body Do Not Stand By was talking about. It appears 2 times in the manga, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. Do Not Stand By. It does pop up in the original manga, about her getting the human body. But I'm just going to say that be prepared to be surprised on that one too. On when you get through the last order, it's going to be pretty cool. So, but the human body, now that one on the left, I don't, basically I could not find more than that one on the right. So I just picked one that was cute and put it on the left, I think that's her berserker body on the left, but she's wearing that coat and all that stuff. So she kind of looks human, So anyway, but her human body is kind of like Do Not Stand By said. She got rewarded, being a human and all that after sacrificing herself and that kind of stuff. And of course, in the last order, she also gets a human body. But you'll see about that when you get there. Do Not Stand By. So anyway, she is not a cyborg here. She's a human. She's just a good old girl. Is what she is. Just human. A human female. So now I think in the last order, as you progress through that, my thought was in the last order that she's probably in her mid-30s when, as she progresses through it, she gets to her mid-30s. And the reason why I say that is because, on the tube, she was probably anywhere from, Maxie and I have had this discussion, anywhere from 19 to say 22 or 23, something like that. But there's, I don't know if you've gotten this far yet, as early on in the last order, she was recalling, her, when she was, when Ito found her and, integrated her into the doll body. And she said something like, well, it's been 14 years since I've been in Iron City or something like that. I do remember her thought being 14 years ago, she was down there and doing all that stuff, and that would put her right in her mid 30s, when she was having those thoughts, I don't know. Have you come to that part yet? Do Not Stand By, or have you read that far yet?
No, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for avoiding spoilers for me.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to. I get excited though sometimes, but there is one panel there when she's sitting looking out. She's up in Zalem, she's looking out and said, "I knew a boy once that would have loved to see this view," And she was.
That was shortly after she just woke up in the Imaginos body.
Yeah, that's right. So she, that was in the last order. So that, she was remembering Hugo on that one. So. But yeah, she ends up, she's a human. She also gets a human body. So anyway, any thoughts about this? Now, this one is not super powered at all. It's just a human,
Creek, my wife is home, so I got to get going, but it was good talking to you again.
All right, Dan. Yeah, man, I invited you to Radio Chaos tomorrow. If you can make it, great. If not, well, we'll catch you some other time.
All right, man.
All right, we'll see. Later. Hey, by the way, one more thing. When are we gonna see some more Dragon Ball? So
I don't know. I've been very busy recently, so I've been twice as busy. So I'll contact you in DMs and we'll schedule something.
All right, man.
All right.
Good talking to you.
You too.
All right, bye.
I was just thinking, everybody seems to have gotten really busy lately.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a cute body, all right. And that's, Hugo's dream, I guess. Yeah, you're right, mandatory carry. You agree kind of with Do Not Stand By there. She earned this body. She definitely did, particularly in that end of that one arc, I guess, in the original manga, she ends up getting a human body. So that's pretty cool, Thoughts about this body, guys?
It's human.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's kind of like Pinocchio, except I really relate to Alita's story much more than Pinocchio. But,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good comparison, because Pinocchio does become a real boy, doesn't he? Eventually. By the way, just to go on this, just on a side note here, I remember seeing on a tweet, that Disney, I guess, had re-released or rebooted or something Pinocchio, and it did horrible. I guess it had a horrible rating on the on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the critic score was in the 30s and the audience score was somewhere in the 30s or 40s. I mean, it was horrible. You know, I don't know what they did to it. I've never seen it, you know. So a Pocahontas body, I don't know about that, Finestro. Pocahontas was a Native American. So
well, I think I see what he's getting at, because the metallic bands under the eyes do have almost a war paint type look to them, and the braid is also a bit of a Native American flair to it.
Okay, yeah. All right, I see that. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, go ahead. Do not stand by. Go ahead.
I would like to see Rosa Salazar as, you know, Alita as a human at the end.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. Basically, she gets her human body, and it's basically just Rosa without the CGI.
Yeah, Mandatory Carrie's agreeing with me here. Yeah, they need to leave that. I mean, you know, you guys know my political leanings, I guess, but I'll say this, you know, you want to keep this woke stuff out of movies. I mean, don't do that.
Yeah, when you're more interested in pushing a message than telling a good story, you're not.
Then you're going to mess up. That's like he says, go woke, go broke. That's right. That's exactly right. You don't want to do that.
Oh, so, Princess Mononoke was what he was thinking of.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that one yet, so but I saw some stills from it. So yeah, probably a little bit of that too.
Okay. Yeah.
It's odd that she has the bands under the eye. Are those actually?
Well, that's just artists. Somebody.
Yeah, I was going to say, if she's in a flesh and blood body, she shouldn't have the metal bands under the eyes.
Well, it could be she just has like war paint on or something. You know.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. By the way, I was going to say, you know, you guys all, you know, you're familiar with me saying Hoka-Hey, you know, and all that. Mm-hmm. Just so you know where Hoka-Hey comes from, that is a Lakota battle cry. And basically, that's what they were saying at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, you know, which the Lakota called the Battle of the Greasy Grass. And the Lakota warriors, you know, Custer went after, he had like less than 300 men. He attacked this village that had something like 4,000 or 5,000 warriors in it. So anyway, it didn't go well for him, as we know, reading history. But a lot of the warriors were saying, Hoka-Hey, it's a good day to die, you know, and they attacked when they were attacking the soldiers, you know. So anyway, just so you know. Yeah, this body's do not stand by is absolutely right. She is rewarded with this body and well deserved too. Yeah, that's right. Mandatory Carry Lakota. Lakota is Sioux. The Sioux is what the Lakota's enemies called them. It just means enemy, I think is what. Now I'm a Creek. I'm not Lakota, so I don't take what I'm saying as gospel, but the Lakota is what they call themselves, which literally means the people. That's it, you know. So and I guess Sioux means enemy or something. I think that's where that comes from. Anyway. So anyway, the human body is well, she's cute in this body too, I guess. So Hugo would like this body, I think. Well, no, I'm almost spoiled. I forgot. Never mind. Do not stand by. I'm not going to say anymore. Okay. I guess it's time for us to vote, I guess. Yeah, that's right. I don't know about the French, what the French called them. I don't know about that. I just know
it sounds like something one of the Europeans would do, not knowing a certain word meant something and then calling an entire tribe that.
Yeah, well, that's what happened with Creek Indians.
It also happened with the, for crying out loud, I can't remember what they were called. The Haudenosaunee was what they were actually called, but then they were called something else.
Oh, the Haudenosaunee, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now you've got. Now I know it. Yeah. Oh well, I'll think about it probably as soon as the stream's over. That's probably what I'll do. But yeah, in terms of kind of to Mandatory Carrie's point here, It's kind
Iroquois. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. There you
Apparently,
go.
Iroquois
Yes.
actually was a derogatory term that they were called from an enemy tribe. And then they ended
Yeah.
up getting called Iroquois by a bunch of the Europeans, and it ended up sticking.
Yeah. But anyway, the way Creek Indians got called that, they're, you know, Creek Indians were woodlands Indians, you know, but the English saw Indians just living on river banks and creek banks and stuff like that, and they kind of lumped them all together and said, oh, those are Creek Indians. You know, so who knows, you know, what these people think, you know. But anyway, I didn't know you guys didn't know you were going to get into Native American stuff here, did you? So,
No, anything can happen.
yeah, that's right. All right, I guess it's time to vote, you guys. I got 4 votes already. So, but which body is your favorite? Anybody out in the chat, just put it down there, and you know, we'll just tell you how many votes got for each one, I guess. So there's the body, and of course that means, as we all know, United Republics of Mars, and then the doll body, Berserker, Motorball, Civilian, Tuned. The 3 Imaginos bodies, that would be 1.0, 2.0, and 2.1, and her human body. The Creek really appreciates the human body. It's not his favorite body, but the fact she was rewarded with it, that's a nice touch. You know, for sure. And Mandatory Carry says they're all good. Okay. Yeah, they most certainly are. So
for capabilities and what they were able to do, I'm going to go with one of the Imaginos bodies. Any of them, really.
Yeah.
Because it looks like you have them all in one category there anyway.
Yeah. The doll body's got a vote from Mandatory Carry. And I guess we got the Imaginos. Which one? 1.0, 2.0, or 2.1 there, Lee?
Let's just go with the later one, the 2.1.
All right.
One where she had angel wings.
Yes. Oh, that's right. You did say that, right? And Finn wants the Berserker body. Yeah, I think I got him on that one already.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm a Berserker body fan as well.
Okay,
so we got on Jim Cameron and Robert Rodriguez changing my mind in the sequels.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know, if Cameron and Rodriguez make Alita look super sexy in that civilian body, that'd change my mind, I guess. Of course, when you finally get to the Imaginos body, it's going to get changed back to the Imaginos body, I'm sure. So, you know, there you have it. Anybody in the chat, you still can vote. Of course, there's not a lot of folks in the chat right now, so. Okay, I guess that's it. So here is the results. The Imaginos 2.1 has got 3 votes. The Berserker body's got 2 votes. Imaginos 1.0 has got 1 vote, and the doll body's got 1 vote. So I guess we don't have a quorum of the Elite Army, so it doesn't mean the Imaginos 2.1 body is the best body, but on this stream it does. So I don't know what you mean by this one, Finn. Make both questions. What do you mean? What's the second best? Is that what you're after, or what?
I think he's referring to the Berserker in the manga and the Berserker in the movie. I think.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter which one. You know, we just call it the Berserker body. Okay, so I guess Imaginos 2.1 barely beats out the Berserker body 3-2, I guess. So, you know, the Berserker body deserves an honorable mention. Well, any body Alita's in is going to get the vote was rigged. Yeah, that's right. That's a joke. I know where you're coming from, Mandatory Carry. That's good. So anyway, all right. So anyway, I guess the reason why the vote's rigged because of the Creek's running the stream and he's got a vote. So so there you have it. So So you're right, mandatory carry. The vote was rigged. So
I was going to say the vote's rigged because whatever body Alita's in is the best body.
well, absolutely doesn't matter what body you really.
Yeah.
So. Okay, well, I guess that's it then. And of course, I don't know if Angelus is out there or not, but we put this slide up last week. You know, we were talking about how badass Alita was last week, and you know, he said, "Oh, we got to talk about Uwu. We got to talk about Uwu." You know, and, oh, geez, I'm trying to talk about how badass she is, and you want to bring Uwu into this. So anyway, I threw this up there just for him. You know, yeah, she's cute. There's no doubt about it. So you know, but be careful, guys. That's my niece. So well, you don't have to worry about me. I mean, if you piss her off, she's gonna take care of that situation herself, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say there may not be enough left for you to deal with.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I was telling one time we were talking about the end of the movie, I guess here a few weeks ago, you know, and we were talking about, you know, how she was in front of that mirror and you know, she was sad and all that stuff. And I've said on other streams, you know, that you know, when I saw that first few times I saw that, and even to some degree now, I just kind of want to hug her, you know. And I said, I thought, no, that's not a good thing. She don't need that, you know. So because you know, certainly she can take care of herself, you know. So okay, Angelus, if you're still out there, there's the Uwu. So we did it for you. Did we miss anything, you guys?
Nothing that jumps out at me.
Do not stand by. Can you think of anything?
No, I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, you guys probably couldn't get your word in edgewise with the creek talking, but
no, it was fine.
Sorry about that. You know, I can run my mouth forever about Alita. And yeah, Alita does love her Uncle Creek, doesn't she? Yeah. So anyway, that's the way that works, I guess. So, and just a reminder, I guess, and Lee, I promise I will get on Discord. If do not stand by, you want to still, if you want to do it, yeah, I think I sent you in a DM that the 23rd or the 30th works equally well for me. The 6th I might be able to do too, but I got a trip plan there, and I might have to make an adjustment for another reason, you know. But either the 23rd or 30th works great. So whatever, Lee, if you can make it, if not, you know, whatever you want to do not stand by. I think we can do that. But I think Lee, if you can make it, you know, I think you'll enjoy seeing it in 3D. It's an experience, man, for sure.
I can imagine. I've heard a lot of good things about it in 3D.
Oh yeah,
I want to see it in that.
Well, yeah. Then you got the priority, man, because you haven't seen it in 3D yet. So
yeah,
whatever works best for your schedule, we'll work around that.
Oh yeah, we will. Yeah, that's going to be a hike for you. It's going to be 100 miles probably, but
oh yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, but you know, I would drive 100 miles to see Alita. You know, there was one point when I drove cross country and I stopped in Columbia, Missouri, you know, that I wanted to go to the movie in Columbia, Missouri, but they weren't carrying it anymore. It was during a re-release, you know, and they weren't carrying it, so I didn't get to see it. So I ended up watching it in the hotel room again. So anyway. And this is our queen, you know, the Creek's favorite actress, whatever, you know, and she's, man, I tell you, I think the other actresses that went for Alita, I think they were all good, particularly Zendaya, you know, she's a good actress, you know, really good, you know, but I think she would have probably done a pretty good job with Alita, you know, but I'm telling you, I think Rosa knocked it out of the park, man. I think she was.
Well, when she actually brought Robert Rodriguez to tears in the, what do they call that? The audition?
Yeah.
That probably says quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing that interview, you know, where she said, I made him cry.
Yeah. They actually interviewed him too. And I think it was him and his wife that were being interviewed.
Yeah. And he confirmed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John Landau was also saying too, he said on a couple of occasions, like, we weren't really just waiting for the technology to catch up. We were waiting for somebody like Rosa to come along.
Yeah, we were waiting for Rosa Salazar. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she did it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And she's good in other stuff too. I mean, I've seen her in Undone, and she
Yeah.
did that little Star Trek short. She was good in that. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen her, and I saw her in oh gosh, Divergent. She was in that. I did see some of the I guess the Maze Runner. I think she was in that one too.
I did see a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in that one. I think she played a character named Brenda, I think, wasn't it?
I can't remember. It
Yeah, I
was so
don't
many
remember
years
now.
ago that I saw that movie.
Yeah. The same is true of Divergent. She played a soldier in that movie. How appropriate,
I
right?
think in both movies she actually her character had short hair.
Yeah. Well, she had real short hair in Divergent. I mean, it was almost like shaved,
I think it was a mohawk actually.
Yeah,
In fact,
I
I think
you're
she was
right.
mentioning some. She looked when one of the interviewers asked her about some of that, and she said her favorite hairdo was the mohawk because she felt real badass in it.
Yeah. She looked badass in that mohawk.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, she's a great actor, but man, doesn't hurt she's pretty. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a pretty lady. There's no doubt about it. And of course, I'm going to start shouting out for Elle Lamont too. She's our other girl, and Elle Lamont's pretty, so, and she did a great job on Screwhead. That's for sure,
Yeah.
And I'd love to see Elle Lamont come back in the sequel, and then kind of make peace with Alita, Screwhead, and they become badass buddies, and I wouldn't agree with the manga, but who cares? They can write that in somehow to where it doesn't hurt the manga too much, or the movie. So anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tomorrow on Radio Chaos, it's going to be a kind of an interesting thing. The Creek likes to do a lot of these versus things, but this is Radio Chaos. And it's going to be Alita versus Iron Man versus Ultron in that one. We're going to have a good discussion on who would win that one, Now we haven't talked about the different bodies, but I'm going to throw together a PowerPoint for this. And I'm going to include the Imaginos body in that, the 2.1 body. Because if she's in that body, Iron Man and Ultron don't stand a chance,
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's going to be a real neat discussion though, because each one of these, certainly Ultron is more of an android, I guess, or robot, himself.
Yeah, he's a completely artificial life form.
Yeah, he's got AI and all that. He's not a living being in the organic sense anyway.
Yeah, if she's in the 2.1 body, she's got that ultra hacking capability. She could probably just reprogram Ultron.
Well, she could probably reprogram Iron Man's suits too.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, she would. Plus, she would have the power edge on either one of them, and plus being able to move near the speed of light. That's good. That's going to be game over within microseconds. That one is, But we'll probably throw her in there with the Berserker body too, because that's going to be a little more of a. I personally, I'm not going to get into this too much because I'm going to, I'll discuss that tomorrow when we're having our little chat about it. But in her Berserker body, I think she takes either one of them anyway, because of her nanotech is a lot more advanced, than either one of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Their nanotech is based on 21st century, and she's what 23rd century or 20. Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's right. So, and of course, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Finestro, you're right. Brenda was her name in the Maze Runner. Thanks for confirming that for sure. Now we're going to chat about who's going to win tomorrow, Finestro. So tune into that one if you want to, And yeah, we've done several versus things for Alita, fighting against Darkseid and Thanos and a bunch of others, the Predator, she's going to take the Predator out easy, I think,
Yeah.
And either the Berserker body or the Imaginos, certainly in the Imaginos body she would, but anyway, it's going to be a fun discussion, as they would say. Okay, guys. I guess any last thoughts?
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
It was 6 or 6:30 for that movie
for
showing.
the viewing.
Yeah.
What does that do not stand by? Is it? Let's see. When's the? Let me check. When he likes to do it around sunset because it's kind of a neat effect.
Okay.
Let me see. Let's see. Sunset today is, well, now look at that. I don't have it. So oh, there it is. Yeah, sunset today is like 6:12. So I can imagine it's going to be like 10 minutes after 6 or something like that. So, he fell off. Oh, wow.
Yep. So it's probably going to be a 2-hour trip up there, then a 2-hour trip back.
Yeah.
Oof.
That'd be kind of late. So we might, well, if you do it too early, of course, it'd be light, so you won't be able to see it that well, but
Yeah.
So anyway, shoot me the, I guess the Discord, DM, I guess, and I promise I will get on it. I'll get on it.
It's already waiting for you in
Okay. Great. So, all right, cool. I'll go look at it as soon as we get off the stream here then. Plus that one you sent me back in August. I'll look at that one too.
That's the one I'm referring to. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Still sitting there.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I guess that is what it is, and of course we know why this image is here, don't we? It's because the Creek likes it, and he's running the stream. And to paraphrase Grwishka, I am only here for our girl and the Alita Army, and of course, all of us in the Alita Army are only here for our girl. We want our girl to get that sequel for sure. So anyway, there you have it. Okay, I guess it's just you and me, Lee, but I guess we can pull this off. So, so I guess on my count of 3, we'll do the call to action. That is 1, 2, 3. Film
those sequels,
baby. All right, we'll see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos and next week on the Alita stream.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Yep.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.